Well, surprise, surprise. Welcome back, by the way. Surprise, surprise. Just when we thought the big banks couldn't hit a new low, they pulled it off. I mentioned this briefly in the last hour, but it certainly bears revisiting. Here's the details now. 6 former employees of the Bank of America have come forward alleging that that big bank intentionally denied eligible homeowners mortgage loan modifications and then lied to those homeowners about the status of their mortgage payments and their documents. Bank of America allegedly used these dirty tactics to lead homeowners into foreclosures and in-house loan modifications, both of which help reap massive profits for the Bank of America. The employees who have come forward have also said that the big bank rewarded customer service representatives, the frontline people, the people you call on the phone, the people you talk to, the customer service representatives with hefty cash bonuses and gift cards to popular stores when they foreclosed on people's homes. According to a lawsuit filed in federal court, a Bank of America employee who placed 10 or more mortgage accounts into foreclosure a month could get up to a $500 bonus. Lawsuit also alleges that the bank punished representatives who did not hit foreclosure target numbers or who objected to the bank's tactics. In some cases, those employees who didn't foreclose on enough people were fired. You didn't foreclose enough homes. You are out of here. You've lost your job. Seriously. This latest jaw dropper out of Bank of America comes just days after it was revealed that the bank was also using deceptive mailers and sales pitches. Remember those? I mean, this is like, what, a week or so ago? That the federal government was saying, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. They were using these sales pitches to sell consumers on mortgage refi plans that would actually add tens of thousands of dollars to the cost of a loan and extend the period of the loan for, in some cases, decades. But despite these latest revelations about foreclosure targets, about the lies and the dirty tactics, I don't think anybody at Bank of America is worried about going to jail. Why? Because our elected lawmakers in Washington, D.C., particularly Republican lawmakers, are scared straight by the idea of going after the big banks and going after corporate America. Yet these same lawmakers are just fine going after the big bad government, especially when it comes to things like the IRS controversy. So let's look at the parallels between the IRS controversy and the latest news coming out of the Bank of America. With the IRS controversy, the IRS agents deliberately went after and applied higher scrutiny to potentially political organizations, liberal and conservative, applying for 501c3 tax-exempt status. At the Bank of America, employees allegedly intentionally denied eligible homeowners loan modifications and pushed them into foreclosure to get a bonus. With the IRS scandal, one IRS official took the fifth when testifying before Congress, but is the subject of both a criminal and an internal investigation. At the Bank of America, it's alleged the customer service representatives were rewarded for lying to homeowners about the status of their mortgage payments and documents. Despite the obvious similarities between these two scenarios, only one is being investigated loudly and publicly by Congress, and that's the IRS controversy. So why is Congress willing to go to the ends of the earth to get to the bottom of the IRS controversy, but refusing to lift a finger when it comes to investigating America's big banks? Could it be the employees of the IRS do not make multi-million-dollar campaign contributions to members of Congress? Could it be that employees of the IRS don't spend hundreds of millions of dollars on lobbying? Could it be that employees of the IRS never committed a crime? And even the media, which is supposed to be an impartial and unbiased source of news and information, is afraid to go after big banks when they commit crimes. But the media has been very willing to drag on ad nauseum about this manufactured witch hunt like the IRS controversy.
Breaking news out of Washington, a bombshell admission by the IRS. The tax agency is officially apologizing for subjecting conservative groups to additional scrutiny during the 2012 election.
Jay Sekulow is an attorney and chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice. He represented 27 of the groups targeted by the agency. They admit they did it because you forced them to admit they did it.
Well, we applied for our tax status in 2010. We waited 18 months. They sent these letters that wanting a lot of information they weren't allowed to ask us.
Send us your Facebook pages, your Twitter pages. And I said, does that include personal pages? And they said everything.
Right. Meanwhile, this has been the extent of the media's coverage of the egregious actions of the big banks. America's collective attitude toward the big banks and corporate America needs to change. Bank of America should not get just a slap on the wrist while our elected officials in Washington waste their time and our tax dollars harassing unionized government employees at the IRS who increasingly it's looking. Elijah Cummings finally released the transcripts today that Darrell Issa didn't want to release. Turns out the IRS person who decided to look into the Tea Party was a registered Republican who is self-described as a conservative who said that that there was no word from Washington to do this. They just did it. There's no there for Darrell Issa and the IRS. But with the banks, I mean, look at the calls we were just getting in the last hour. People saying, this happened to me. This happened to me. Yep, I submitted the paperwork. They told me they'd lost it. I sent it in again. They said, oh, we can't find it. I sent it in again. They said, oh, yeah, somebody's looking it over. We'll get back with you. They never got back with me. Then they foreclosed. Congress and the Department of Justice should hold the big banks accountable for their actions because America cannot afford another big bank-caused economic and financial disaster. I mean, it's really that simple. The banksters are up to their old tricks. They are doing the exact same stuff they were doing before. More people are going to suffer. More people are going to get sucked in by this stuff. These banks and their stockholders and their CEOs, they're going to make, it's going to be a whole nother bubble. Oh, the housing market's back. Oh, isn't that wonderful? No, it's a bubble. The stock market, it's higher than it's ever been. Well, yeah, it might have something to do with the rich getting richer. I mean, the stock market is where the rich put their money. Might have something to do with our tax laws. It might have something to do with the way that the Fed is offering, money at virtually zero interest rate to our banksters, and then they're loaning it out to big corporations at 1% and 1.5%, 2%. Now, by the way, those same banks would be glad to loan it to you at 29% on your credit card. I mean, this system is not only rigged. Elizabeth Warren pointed that out. Remember when Elizabeth Warren came along and she said, when she was running for the United States Senate, and she said, people say the system is rigged. It is. Well, actually, here's Elizabeth in her own words.
People feel like the system is rigged against them. And here's the painful part. They're right. The system is rigged. Look around. Oil companies guzzle down billions in profits. Billionaires pay lower tax rates than their secretaries. And Wall Street CEOs, the same ones who wrecked our economy and destroyed millions of jobs, still strut around Congress, no shame, demanding favors and acting like we should thank them. Does anyone here have a problem with that?
Yes, Jamie Dimon, we just want to bow down to you in Congress. That's all, Fly in your private jet and we will be at your feet. Lloyd Blankfein, you are one of the gods. Well, wasn't it Jamie Dimon? No, it was Lloyd Blankfein who said we're doing God's work back in the day. Right. Doing God's work. Ripping off the working people. Helping the billionaires hide their money offshore. Creating derivatives and creating basically a disaster for everybody. We need some fundamental reform in this country. And unfortunately, it's not going to come when you've got both an administration and a Congress that are afraid to even talk about taking on the banksters, with the exception of a few brave souls like Elizabeth Warren and Peter DeFazio. We got to get money out of politics.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It always seems to come back to that. It's like the original sin. And it wasn't even brought to us by Congress. It was brought to us by the Supreme Court. MoveToAmend.org.